Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Sounds good. I just have to raise the,
Okay.
we have to.
Boker Tov, everyone. Even though it's not this week's Parsha, but since today is Pesach Sheni, I want to discuss with you some ideas regarding Pesach Sheni, the second Pesach, because it's a very exceptional topic. We do not find in the Torah, with the exception of Pesach Sheni, any ability to do over something that you missed. Let's say Sukkot, if the first day you didn't have a lulav and esrog. A week later, a month later, because the mitzvah is gone. It's time is of the essence, and the time has passed. And that's true of all the mitzvot in the Torah that are time bound, that have a relationship to time. The Gemara says, "Ovar zmano botel korbono." If the time is passed, so then your sacrifice, your mitzvah, whatever you want, cannot be accomplished. And here we have this glaring exception. Now the Torah tells us that what happened was, "Vayi anoshim asher hoyu tmeim lenefesh adom, v'lo yochlu la'asos es haposach." There were people amongst Klal Yisrael who were Tomei Meis, who had come in contact with a dead body. So that's the Avi Avos Hatuma, that's the most difficult form of Tuma, of uncleanliness. And a person that's Tomei cannot bring the Korban Pesach. So who were these people? So the Gemara teaches us that these were the pallbearers, so to speak, that carried the body of Yosef HaTzadik for the entire 40 years that the Jewish people were in the desert. Yosef made the Jewish people take an oath that when the Ribono Shalom would redeem them from Egypt, take my bones, my corpse with you, and bury me in Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah, that's not gonna help.
And Yosef gave her, Yosef is near Shem. And the Gemara teaches us that on the day that the Jewish people were leaving Egypt, so everybody was busy packing. And Moshe, everybody was taking Bizas Mitzrayim. They were taking the goods that the Egyptians gave them. And Moshe went to find the bones of Yosef. The Gemara darshans the posuk, Chacham leiv yikach mitzvos, a person with a wise heart will always attempt to
Today's Pesach.
take a mitzvah, to do something positive. And so the Moshe was certain that the bones of Yosef had to be taken out of Mitzrayim, which he did. And the entire, the Medrash says, the entire 40 years of the sojourn of the Jewish people in Egypt, so there were like two boxes, containers that led the Jewish people through the desert. One was the Or HaKodesh, the holy ark that had the Luchot, and the other was the coffin of Yosef. And when the nations of the world said, what's the relationship between the two? I can understand why you should carry the Ark of the Covenant, but what's this with a corpse? So the Jewish people answered, Kiyam zeh ma shekosu bozeh. You should know that Yosef was the fulfillment, observed everything that the Torah stood for. So therefore they went in conjunction.
You understand what he's talking about? I don't.
So
They carry two boxes, one
there are
with
people who are carrying
one
the
with the bones.
George, please mute yourself.
So there are people who are carrying the coffin of Yosef. Because they're carrying the coffin of Yosef, they're tmeim. They're not in a state of cleanliness that they can observe the mitzvah. So Pesach came, and the Torah describes that in the second year, the first anniversary of leaving Mitzrayim, the Jewish people, Yasu es HaPosach, they fulfilled the obligation of bringing the sacrifice of the Pesach. So these people came and complained. They said, "Anachnu tmeim lenefesh odom." We are unclean, and therefore we can't bring the Pesach. How can it be that we shouldn't have a Pesach? So there are different ways to look at this. One way to look at it is, they said to Moshe, "Listen, Moshe, this is all your fault. You took the bones out of Egypt. You created the situation that we would be unclean. And therefore, because of you, we should lose the mitzvah. We should lose the observance of the Pesach. And therefore, that's why they came to Moshe. And they were adamant that they should have a second chance, so to speak. Moshe says, I don't know what the answer is. I'll consult with heaven, so to speak. We'll see what the Torah tells us to do. And then the Torah says that if people that were Tomei L'Nefesh Odom, or B'derech Rechoka, they were far away, they couldn't come to Yerushalayim for the Korban Pesach, they have a chance to make it up Pesach Sheni, a month later in the month of Iyar. So the question arises, the Chinuch asks the question openly, but it's the underlying question to the entire story. Why? If we find, as we do, that in the entire Torah there are no makeups, if the time is past, it's past. If the opportunity is gone, it's gone. We know that to be true in life as well. I should have, I could have, I would have. That doesn't mean anything. And here they came with a complaint. Loma Nigora, why should we be diminished not to have the Korban Pesach? Not to have the ability to observe the Pesach. So the Sefer HaChinuch asks that question, the basic question, what's different here? Why is this exceptional? Why do we have Pesach Sheni? We don't have Shavuos Sheni. We don't have Sukkot Sheni. We don't have Rosh Hashanah Sheni. We don't have Yom Kippur Sheni. Why Pesach? So there are different approaches to the issue. And let's explore some of them. The Chinuch himself says, from here we learn that the basic mitzvah of the Torah is to remember Mitzrayim, to remember the Geula of Mitzrayim. All of Judaism is based on Zecher Yitzias Mitzrayim. And therefore, as an example, in every mitzvah that exists, so we say Zecher Yitzias Mitzrayim. Tonight we'll make Kiddush. We'll say Zecher Yitzias Mitzrayim, even though we're commemorating on Shabbos the creation having nothing to do with Yitzias Mitzrayim. But everything is Zecher Yitzias Mitzrayim. So the Chinuch says, since this is the fundamental belief of the Jewish people, it's the basis of our existence. And that's what we say in the Haggadah and Pesach, that Manishtana, what is Judaism all about? So we say, because Avonim Ayinu Lefaro b'Mitzrayim, Vayotzienu Hashem Elokeinu Misham B'yod Chazaka V'Zro Netuya. So that's the core belief. Since it's the core belief, the Torah wanted that every Jew should have an opportunity to reinforce that belief. And the way to reinforce the belief is through the mechanism of Pesach Sheni. So that even though Lulav and Esrog is a mitzvah and Shofar is a mitzvah, all the Chagim and the Moadim are mitzvot, but they're, I don't know how to put it, but they're not the essence of the relationship of the Jewish people to the Ribono Shalom. They're not what makes us the Jewish people. They only are there that this is how the Jewish people behave at certain times of the year. But it's not our essence. But Pesach is our essence. Pesach is who we are. And therefore, because of that, the Torah grants the opportunity to do it again with Pesach Sheni. That's the idea of the Chinuch. Over the centuries, many of the great commentators have advanced other ideas as well. One idea is, they said, Loma Nigora. How could it be that we have no share, that we're excluded? We're not part of it. So there are many times in life where a person has the opportunity to do a mitzvah, but he's not so anxious to do it. Either he's busy, or it's going to cost him money. Or whatever reason. So he doesn't say lo manigora there, you know. How could it be, you know, that they make an appeal for tzedakah and I don't give? Rare to find people that way. They're making an appeal. They come to me. All right, so I'll give, but it's a little begrudgingly. And I have to admit my weaknesses. I am very disturbed by robot telephone calls for causes which probably are legitimate. But it's an intrusion on me. I'm in the middle of doing something, and I got a phone call, you know. And especially when they call me by my first name, and I don't know who's talking even. So I don't say there, Loma Nigora. How can it be that there's going to be a fund drive and I'm not going to give? Make sure you call me next time. Make certain that, you know, that I participate. Here, the pallbearers of Yosef complained. Loma Nigora, how could it be that we should not have a Pesach? Now, it's true, legitimately, al pi halacha, I'm not obligated. The people were tomei lenefesh odom, or whether it's osek b'mitzvah, poter min ha-mitzvah, Yosef is a meis mitzvah. If you're taking care of a meis mitzvah, pushes away all the other mitzvahs of the Torah. Legally, even morally, they don't have to participate at all. And they came and said, Loma Nigora. How can it be that we should not be part of the Korban Pesach? So this is the only case where the Torah records for us that people complained that they didn't have a mitzvah. And therefore, the Rebbeinu Shalom Kaviyachal in heaven is so pleased by the fact that they feel they're missing a mitzvah, said, okay, we'll give them the mitzvah, give them Pesach Sheni. It's interesting that the same phrase, Loma Nigora, appears by the daughters of Tzlofchad regarding having a share in Eretz Yisrael. How can it be that we shouldn't have a share in Eretz? How could it be that we have Eretz Yisrael and we shouldn't be there? How can it be that we shouldn't have rights, property? Loma Nigora, how could that be? So they are granted Cain B'no Slavcha Dovros. What they said is correct. They've got the right attitude. I remember just a personal remembrance that when my wife and I purchased our apartment here in Eretz Yisrael, So my father-in-law said that he wanted to buy 1 bedroom from us. So I said to him, Pop, what are you talking about? Whenever you come, the whole apartment is yours. You don't know. No. So you have a chance to own property in Eretz Yisrael. I shouldn't own property, he said. My father never had that opportunity. So that's an attitude. Lama Nigora is an attitude. How can it be that a good thing is being done and I shouldn't participate? I shouldn't be part of it. In the financial world, there are, once it was called IPOs. I don't know what it is today. I don't know if it's, but there was an initial public offering of stock in a company that's starting up. So many times, let's say they were offering 2 million shares, and they had bids for 3 million shares. People wanted more because they felt it was a good investment. So they complained. I wanted 5,000 shares of this company, and they only gave me 3,000. If I would add another 2,000, look how much more money I would have. That's the concept of Loma Nigora. Torah is the same thing. Eretz Yisrael is the same thing. And the relationship to Yosef. So the Loma Nigora in both cases are comparable because they're both the tribe of Yosef. And Yosef loved Eretz Yisrael. And his last wish was that I should be buried in Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, if you say to heaven, Loma Nigora, how can it be that I don't have a share, right? I put in my order for 5,000 shares and you didn't deliver? So the Rebbeinu Shalom says, I'll deliver. We'll give it to you again. You have Pesach Sheni. But if you never say Loma Nigora, you don't feel like that. I remember once I had a very good friend of mine, which is a rare thing. So we went to the yeshiva together. And we knew each other for decades. So when I went into the Rabbonis, he became a stockbroker. But he became a very big, successful stockbroker. He was a vice president in a big stock firm, and he had clients all over the world, and he was a very astute businessman. So once I was a guest speaker at a banquet in his community, and I slept over the night in his home. So the banquet was over late. The guest speaker spoke too long. I came home about 11 o'clock, and we had a cup of tea, and we reminisced. So like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, we were going to sleep. So I said, all right, I'm going to thank you for the hospitality. I'm going to bed. He said, I have a few phone calls to make yet. I said, well, yeah, you're going to call 1:30 in the morning? Going to wake up people? He said, I have information that would be necessary for them to know so that when the market opens in the morning, they can make the correct decision. So certainly I'm going to call him. It's 1:30 in the morning. It's a hot tip. He said they're great. They don't object. They're full of gratitude towards me. So I thought to myself, that's a good thing. Maybe I'll come back to my shul and I'll call up a guy 1:30 in the morning and tell him, I got a Achnus scholar for you. Or I got this zdokah, or this yeshiva needs money. I get fired. But that's the difference between Loma Nigora and not. Loma Nigora means I don't object that be waking me 1:30 in the morning. I appreciate it. I'm grateful. You did me a favor. And that was an attitude that I saw from great Rabbonim, especially the Ponevezh Rav, but other great Rabbonim as well. The Ponevezh Rav used to say every morning when I had the distinct honor of driving and we would go see people to raise money, he would say, with whom are we going to do a favor today? And he believed that. He was doing you the favor. So that's the concept of Loma Nigora. So when a Jew says Loma Nigora, heaven responds. So the Meforshim say, when it came to Sukkot, when it came to Shavuos, nobody said Loma Nigora. So we let it pass, it passed. Time is over. Came to Pesach, they said Loma Nigora. Oh, we've got to give them another chance. I was thinking that regarding Eretz Yisrael as well. And by the generation of Yoshua, and then there's a generation of the Churban Bayis Rishon, and then there's the generation of Ezra, and then there's the Bayis Sheni, and then there's the whole 1800 years that we have passed. And then we came back. Why did we come back? Because we said Loma Nigora, How could it be that we shouldn't have Eretz Yisrael? What do you mean we shouldn't have Eretz Yisrael? It's the Ottoman Empire. It's Rome, it's Greece, it's whatever, it's the United States. What are you talking about? The Jews said, Loma Nigora, what are you talking about? How can it be that we shouldn't have Eretz Yisrael? How should such an idea exist in your head? So when Jews are ready to say Loma Nigora, so then heaven responds. There's a positive response. And that's the idea of Pesach Sheni. One more idea regarding why Pesach. So the first idea was because it's the cornerstone of Jewish belief. The second idea is because they said Loma Nigora. The third idea is there are people who are willing to sacrifice themselves for the public good. These people rarely are found in public life, but there are such people. Who were the people that carried the body of Yosef? And the Medrash teaches us that they were volunteers. Moshe didn't command you. He said, well, we need 8 people to carry the coffin. They knew that they were being Tomei L'Nefesh Odom. They knew there's a price to pay for it. You can't carry the coffin of Yosef without paying a price. But they had promised Yosef, Yashbeya Ishbiya, Yosef made them take an oath that somebody would carry him out. So they were willing to undergo their own personal discomfort, let's say, for the public good, that the oath of Yosef should be fulfilled. That Yosef HaTzadik should not say in heaven, I asked them to do it and they didn't do it. I saved them. I gave them to eat when there was a famine. I reunited the family. I took care of their father. So they said, we owe it. The public good requires it. The public good requires these things. Again, I remember the Ponevezh Rav. He told me once, he was a brilliant man, a great Talmid Chacham. So he told me once, he said, I could be the greatest Rosh Yeshiva in the world. I have that ability, he said. I have the mental capacity and the knowledge of the subject to be the greatest. So how come I end up that I'm the biggest schnorrer in the world? That when you mention my name, people think immediately, oh yeah, he wants money. So he said, because after the Shoah, he said, we need people that are going to build the Jewish people. We have to build yeshivot again. So you have to sacrifice your own personal ambition and even talents for the public good. Chazal say, the Tanakh says that the Novi Yecheskel was called Yecheskel ben Buzi. Yecheskel, the son of Buzi. Buzi is a derogatory description of a person. So the Gemara says, because he allowed himself to be shamed, be embarrassed, in order to promote Torah amongst the Jewish people. That's the personal sacrifice that's involved. So when the Rabbanu Shalom sees that there is such a personal sacrifice, that these people volunteered to carry Yosef's bones with them, and they were aware of what was going to happen, that they would be Tmeim L'Nefesh Adon, V'lo Yochlu Lasos HaPosach, they wouldn't be able to make a Korban Pesach. So then the Rabbanu Shalom said, we have to give them a second chance. We have to give them Pesach Sheni, to show that many times the sacrifice for the public good is the main pillar upon which Jewish life is built and upon which Torah life is also built. So these are some of the ideas of Pesach Sheni. I thank you for coming. And Mirz Hashem, I hope next Friday we'll be able to keep on going. Pirkei Avos is tomorrow. What do you say? 5:50. 5:55. I can hardly wait.
It's the title. Okay.